Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Woof! Hey, y'all. It is smoky out there. So today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm with the List.Vegas founder, Andrew Corrali, and my co-host, David Figler. And we're going to cover what's up with this air quality, as well as the arrest of a police officer, unusual, and why there are some things you cannot place a bet on, even in Las Vegas. It's Friday, September 13th. I'm Sarah Lohman, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey there.
You know
Should I say?
You guys, I mean,
I'm staying inside.
I know. Full disclosure, everybody. I apologize. I am attached to Las Vegas, but in the past week I've actually been in Quebec. Pour me. Pauvre moi.
Pauvre
moi.
Pauvre
you.
toi.
But I have not experienced the horrible weather. We're going to get into that. But actually, I want to do a real, positive shout out. I just want to congratulate the Rebel Girls and Co. UNLV dance team. They perform at a lot of the college events, basketball and football. They have been going viral on TikTok and Instagram for their incredible precision and enthusiasm and dances. And also because the Rebel Girls and Co. company has a lot of men on the team. So many, in fact, that people online have been mistaking them for the football team. So I super love that energy. I love that it's extremely gender inclusive, not just men and women. I don't know. Hey, Andrew, David, have you seen any of their videos?
I have not, but I'll definitely have to check them out. Love some big dance energy.
I got the link. I tapped on the link. I'm going to be honest. I didn't get it. It just seemed like everything else that is out there on the TikToks. But I'm proud of them for getting 3.18 billion views.
Way to bring it down.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously they're talented and athletic, but it was like a 15-second clip that I saw.
Well, I'm excited to see more.
A lot of attitude,
longer.
which was nice.
A lot of good attitude.
Yeah.
Well, David, you are 2 to 3 generations ahead of them, so you just don't understand how hard they ate and that they leave no crumbs.
Thank you for that kindness, that the gap is only that big.
So that's okay, buddy. There's other things out there
I want to
for
see
you.
people doing the Charleston. Come on.
I would actually love to see them doing a Charleston.
To the jitterbug?
Could you please, and dedicate it to the CityCast team? That would be
twist, the Watusi.
Incroyable. All right. Let's get into the news. Andrew, literally what is up with this air quality? What is going on?
Yeah, 3 California wildfires brought unsafe levels of smoke into southern Nevada, according to the National Weather Service. And basically on Wednesday, our entire region was basically like the inside of a Dottie's.
That's a good one.
I had to get the Dottie's joke in there.
No, that's great, man.
Yeah, so all around. So the city of Las Vegas closed all its sports fields for scheduled activities. The school district canceled, quote, all non-essential outdoor activities, including lunch and PE classes and recess. Moving them indoors. And the Clark County Division of Air Quality issued a smoke alert, so recommending people to stay indoors, keep your windows and shut,
especially
your doors
people
closed.
with respiratory disorders or the elderly or little kids.
Yeah. So the smoke is no joke, and really heralds. I think it's another sort of milestone notch in climate change. Is here, and it is the new normal.
Yeah. Okay. That is my question. So the two of you have lived here basically all of your lives. Are the conditions this September worse than you ever remember it being?
We're no strangers here to the residual effects of California wildfires.
Sure.
I can remember smoky days past where, you walk outside and you're like, somebody cooking this early in the morning?
Ooh.
And then you realize, the state of California. But I think it's pretty persistent lately to the extent where it's starting to get a little scary. It's unlike the duration and the intensity is not like what I've remembered in years or even decades past.
Yeah, you agree, Andrew?
Same. Yeah, it's definitely, and there's a media narrative around it, and this narrative is, justified and real, and I think we're just more aware of it. And I think now we're in a place where, I think people for a while were just thinking of climate change as this grim future prospect, but it's a reality now, and this is what we're living in. This isn't just wildfire season. This is climate change induced wildfire season. And I think what's going to happen is our seasons are, they're going to be injected with this sense of like extra apocalyptic oomph from now on. And, there's going to be days, maybe even weeks in the future where it's like too hazy and smoky to go outside, or it's too hot to go outside. It's going to be too hazy and, hot for like planes to take off. And I think it's going to, kind of get baked into, our experience of the seasons in a way that's really going to bring it home that, this is, in fact, the new normal.
You're not here, Sarah, but there was a moment this week where I reached for the old COVID mask to go outside because it just seemed so terrible.
Yeah. And remember the good old days when, during COVID, to sort of be perverse about it, when going outside was a reprieve from wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And now it's like, those days are gone,
Oh, God. I mean, this is a random thing I caught on Instagram, but I saw that Cactus Joe's, like one of our big outdoor garden centers, closed early yesterday. And so obviously this is something that's affecting our businesses, but like we are a tourist city. So is this something that's ultimately going to affect tourism to this city?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And I don't know that anyone has done any sort of like hard research on its potential impact, but I can't imagine that it's not on the radar of, tourism officials, the convention authority. But to go back quickly to this idea of this being, the new normal. I mean, it's been sort of the new normal for so long. It's sort of like, normal. And I want to point out, one of the big signifiers of that. And last month, Desert Research Institute held this summit at the Encore called the Adaptable World Environment Summit. And the most interesting thing about it is it wasn't about preventing climate change. The entire thing was about adapting to climate change, right? So, utility regulators, water resource, managers, fire scientists talked about how to prepare communities. So they're talking about how to more efficiently and effectively alert homeowners about wildfires to, get them evacuated. Energy officials and CEOs are talking about adapting the infrastructure, putting energy, lines, underground. They talked about a national insurance fund, that's federally backed, so homeowners in wildfire areas can keep having their insurance. And so I think that really says
it's super difficult to get insured in California and wildfires right now. Yeah, they're being I know homeowners that are getting dropped.
Yeah. In answer to your question, though, Sarah, I've seen some influencer videos that are like, hey, if you were coming to Vegas to catch the last part of Stay Out at the Pool season, you might want to rethink it because Vegas is that bad right now. So it is going to cause some people to rethink, the drive from like California and other nearby states, but also if they were coming here to kind of indulge in our great outdoor scene, that's almost precluded while the air quality levels are so bad.
Yeah, there were even like Lake Mead was issuing like view warnings, like when I'm from the Northeast, like blizzard warnings essentially, as far as like that it's hard to see.
As bad as we have it, our poor friends up in Reno are even getting evacuated from their homes because the fire is actually encroaching their neighborhoods. So it's really rough. I mean, Nevada's taking a hit from this, and what do you do?
There's a good question. Like, we sort of excel at the Strip at creating vast indoor spaces, right? Air filtered, climate controlled. So maybe Las Vegas is going to enter its biodome era, just sort of a Simpsons movie situation.
Well, we already have Pauly Shore as a resident. So Biosphere 3, here we come.
There you go. We're already thematically positioned for the coming dystopian age.
Was it Biosphere? Biodome. Biodome was the name of the Pauly Shore film, right?
Yeah.
Biodome. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
But we could turn the sphere into the biosphere.
We should turn to Pauly as an expert. DRI should have Pauly give a
Let's
speech.
get him on the horn.
And another sort of unfortunate facet of this is to dovetail with what Figler was saying, is that, as the conversation about, diversifying tourism centers around cultural tourism and outdoors activities and all our beautiful outdoors activities to have, it's going to intersect very uncomfortably with the age of climate change.
Las Vegas has so much discretionary money here, it seems, that we spend on frivolous things. I wonder if we could divert a little bit of that slush money, that big gaming room tax slush money, to help with stewardship of the forests in California.
That's a great idea.
That's a direct impact to us. Like, that stewardship is part of the equation, too.
All right, let's be useful here for once, you guys. And help out some people who might be newer here and not used to the wildfire smoke. So, do you have tips for protecting yourself when the air quality is this bad?
Yes.
What's up?
I'm going to hold up something. I don't know what it's called, and see if you could. It's kind of.
Oh my God! For under your door.
For under my door.
That's so smart.
Right.
So for gaps, when we have weather like this with the big smoke in the air.
It's like a big old snake pillow.
It's like a big snake pillow. That's a great way to describe it. And they're relatively inexpensive. And you just push them up against the opening on the bottom of your doorway. Because if there's any crack where the outdoors can come in, even to a little extent, this will stop it. At least it'll slow it down. But we invested in these for every door in our house. And we deploy them when it's fire season.
Deploy the snakes.
Andrew, any tips from you?
Yeah, I would say invest in an air purifier. I mean, we have ours, running pretty at its highest setting in the living room right now. Reno and Las Vegas are two of the, fastest warming cities according to Climate Central. So I think it's a place where you have to really start paying attention to the weather reports and the weather alerts.
And the air quality reports. You got to go to those websites and check it out.
And so stay inside, on bad air quality days. Have a mask handy. I think it's gonna, wear it outdoors if you have to go outdoors. So some of the basics.
And a great time to change those air conditioner filters. Change your air filters, everybody in your home.
Change them daily.
Okay.
Hell.
All right. Well, good luck out there. And I hope if you could clear this up before I get back into town, that would be great.
We'll work on it.
Now, two pigeons bemoaning the fact you can stream DirecTV satellite-free.
These humans can stream all the top-rated national news channels on DirecTV, and now with no satellite dish.
This just in. Weather, sports, election coverage. DirecTV has it all, but something is missing. The satellite dish.
What are you doing?
I'm reporting the news. Back to you, Bob.
Here's some news. You're a buffoon.
Stream the top-rated national news channels. No satellite dish. Visit DirecTV.com. Internet required. Top-rated news based on 2023 Nielsen ratings.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
All right. So number 2, this is such a weird story. So I can't wait to get a little detail from you, David. But there was recently an arrest of a LVMPD officer. What is up?
Yeah, so Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officer Kevin Menon, who had been with the force since 2014, was arrested and charged with 12 different counts. A couple of felonies in there, a lot of gross misdemeanors, mostly for essentially making false reports, arresting people without having the sufficient cause to do so, manufacturing situations so that they could stop and arrest people, and also pushing another officer. This all came to light on May 15th, according to reports, where other Metro officers finally reported this guy and said, hey, higher-ups, he's probably using illegal tactics. Now, they know whether he's using illegal tactics or not, but I think that there was a little bit of wish-wash there for reasons just to get the investigation started. And now it's been reported that there were at least 5 occasions when Officer Menon allegedly did really shady stuff to either arrest people or ordering his subordinates, because he is a sergeant, apparently, to falsify reports to justify the stopping and arrests of numerous individuals, mostly on the Strip. His latest assignment was the Tourist Safety Division of Metro. So, unsurprisingly, a lot of these incidents occurred at places like the Cromwell, the Bellagio, on the Strip, at the Cosmo.
I was reading the Las Vegas Review-Journal article on this, and it kept saying that he would act as a quote-unquote suspicious person and, like, basically, bait people into illegal activity?
Well, yes, that too. But so what's being reported is that there was a couple of different tactics that this individual would employ to try to get to people where, that pesky Constitution would not otherwise allow those type of interactions. So when he was posing as a suspicious person, he would be undercover. This is all the allegation. He would be undercover and would start talking to some person that they had their eyes on for no other articulable reason. They just didn't look right or something, which we could get way into that, and then would walk away. And then his fellow officers would walk up to the individual, the targeted individual, and said, hey, you were just talking to some guy who has a lot of problems and is involved in a lot of illegal activity. We need to stop you now to see what you are all about.
So there are other people in on this. There's other officers doing...
His subordinates.
Ooh.
They were like little mini sting operations, kind of.
Well, yeah, or what some people call entrapment, or manufacturing circumstances to allow constitutional stops. Now, here's the point where I have to give a little bit of a disclaimer. As regular listeners know, I'm an attorney, and I have been involved in litigation involving individual civil rights. Actually, one of the lawsuits that was reported by the Review-Journal, because also this individual, in addition to these instances that have given rise to the criminal charges, he was sued multiple times in federal court for violating people's rights. One of those lawsuits was a case that I was involved with. So nothing that I'm saying right now, I just have to make this really clear, comes from any of that litigation. Everything I'm talking about is from reporting either on Channel 8 or the Las Vegas Review-Journal or the public record itself with regard to these new charges. Let me finish this really quick, because this is where it really turns interesting for the community. The sheriff, Kevin McMahill, said that this is a stain on the agency. And he also said a couple of other things. First of all, the PIO for LVMPD said that Sheriff McMahill wasn't aware of some of these other lawsuits against Menon, or that they had been dismissed. And also, McMahill stated that the department has an early warning system for when officers are kind of going a little rogue, and he wasn't sure if Kevin Menon had tripped this system or not, but no details on what this system is. And so I have so many questions, because the conduct that's being charged right now only really goes back to what appears to be April 26th of this year. This guy has been in office for 10 years. We know of the existence of these other lawsuits where he's been accused of stuff over the years. How far back are they going to go? Are they going to look at every single case that this guy's ever touched? Are they going to look at all the other people who either facilitated or assisted in it? I mean, this could be a huge scandal, but it seems like they're just saying, oh, look, this is a rogue guy. We got him. Nothing else to see here. That's the big question.
Okay, Andrew, do you have any thoughts on why his behavior has gone uninvestigated for such a long time?
Yeah, I do. And I'm no expert on law enforcement, so let me make that disclaimer. But I mean, obviously, McMahill, this so-called early warning system that he's talking about either doesn't exist or is woefully ineffective for this rogue sergeant not to trip it. But I think it probably also says a lot about, police culture. I'm sure that there is, a code of silence. There are probably, intense pressures and cultural factors at work that would prevent this from coming to light earlier. So I think it definitely says something about cop culture.
David, what checks and balances do exist for police misconduct currently?
Well, people can sue, obviously.
Citizens, us.
Citizens can sue or file complaints as well. There are internal affairs in every police department in the country, and Metro is no exception. But, here, what seems to be the impetus for this investigation happening was that he pushed another officer. And the union kind of got involved a little bit because we did see some quotes from the union in the RJ story, thanking the sheriff for getting rid of this rogue guy who seemed to be out of control and was taking that out maybe on other officers, and that really hastened the investigation.
And you can only do those lawsuits if you are lawyered up and know your rights in that capacity to say.
And they're not easy lawsuits. There's a lot of burden to get over. There's immunity that exists. So those lawsuits don't typically go to the end. They either get dismissed early or they settle. That is very common. It's what's called 1983 actions. It's a federal law.
I have a question.
Yeah.
That maybe Figler can.
You did raise your hand, so it's question time for
that's the easiest
David
way.
Figler, Esquire.
Yeah. So in the articles about this, it was suggested that one of the reasons that this rogue sergeant was, basically creating these, entrapment scenarios was to goose the statistics or meet a quota. But McMahill denied that there is some kind of arrest quota system that that the police are using. But it almost seems to me that also there's probably some structural pressure to show that you are preventing crime on the Strip or whatever your area of patrol is. So do you know anything about that, Figler? Whether or not there is an informal quota system or a system of expectations, and maybe this pressure to make a certain number of arrests contributed to that?
Well, at this point, you have to take the word of the sheriff that it doesn't exist. I don't know the current police culture, if maybe in the minds of some police officers, they think that they'll get advancement if they show more results. The Strip is a hotbed, and a lot of eyes are on it. And I think a lot of people, including the Resort Association and others, would really like to see the Strip cleaned up. You know what I mean? Maybe it's become a little too treacherous. And I would imagine there's people in our community who say, yeah, maybe this guy crossed the line, but we want cops to at least go up to the line because we want to see results. We want to see success on the Strip, even though Sheriff McMahill,
to actually jump in and, I don't want to say defend Sheriff McMahill, but he actually did call this arrest a huge stain on the department. So at least internally, or perhaps outwardly, he's saying that this is not how officers should be acting. And certainly I don't think we want, again, we're a tourist city. Do you want to, as a tourist, be worried about being entrapped when you're hanging out in Vegas?
Oh, I mean, he had to say that. And I am so glad he did, because he's not doubling down, right? He's saying this is a bad apple. But the question is, to what end? What's next for Metro when it comes to, like Andrew said, the potential inadequacy of this early warning system?
Yeah, what additional checks should exist? Andrew, our in-house police expert, I'm just kidding. Andrew is not our in-house police expert.
Well, I would say some sort of external oversight that actually has some teeth, to it.
Well, there is a citizen review board, but they are, as Andrew suggested, maybe are a little on the gummy versus the toothy side.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. One would argue that their role is decorative.
Oh no. So you would like to see an oversight board, a professional oversight board that can actually take action.
Well, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, because if 3 federal lawsuits don't trigger the, quote, early warning system, something's clearly rotten.
Whenever those motions are filed and there's any legitimacy to it, there should be a database. There should be somewhere where not just defense attorneys, but Metro itself could look and say, wait a second, this guy's been challenged 47 times in the last year for doing an unlawful search. That, to me, seems to be a red flag worth investigating. Now, whether that goes to a citizen review panel or internal, whatever, but I think that would be a better check than what seems to exist right now. Because right now it's being presented as a one-off, and I don't know if it is or isn't, but we do know.
The only bad apple or what?
This guy's been there for a long time, and he's engaged with a lot of other people.
Well, this is a really fascinating story, and one that I am sure that we're going to do some updates on too, because I'm curious to see how this pans out and what it means for our police force.
This episode is brought to you by Mug Root Beer. It's 3 p.m. on a Thursday. too late for a coffee, too early for a beer. So you walk around aimlessly in search of a mysterious third beverage. That's when you hear it. The sound of the dog. The sound of mug root beer. So drink mug root beer if you got that dog in you.
Sephora stores are everywhere you are. So just pop in when you need a brown lip to match your 90s playlist. A confidence boost before your interview? Or a last-minute gift for mom's birthday. There's always a Sephora near you. Just pop in. Use our store locator to find your local Sephora or Sephora at Kohl's.
Okay, so in our last story today, y'all, it is not legal to bet on presidential elections for the moment, but that might be changing. So in September 2023, the Commodities Future Trading Commission told a New York-based company called Kalshi that they could not offer betting on elections, essentially. Now, this type of betting is actually available on offshore websites. Basically, there's not been betting available on elections, not just presidential, but elections in this country, because there could be some unwanted results in that people might influence the election or influence votes based on the gambling winnings that could potentially come their way, right? So
God forbid someone's using the internet to try to manipulate the election with shady ways.
It does seem good to have like one less reason to influence the election, but that's been the general consensus. We don't do it in the United States, and it is illegal for that reason. However, a federal judge in Washington has struck down that decision. I will tell you, though, that an offshore company had some statistics. You could bet on different aspects of the debate that just happened this week as well. And there is definitely one that would have made you a lot of money had you bid on it. And that is if Will Harris and Trump shake hands. No was an under 400 favorite.
Prop bets.
If I were a gambling lady and I saw Kamala go after that handshake, I would have won a boatload of cash. So first of all, what do you all think of that? Do you think we should be able to gamble on United States elections?
You're asking the wrong guy. I bet the farm on Ross Perot in the Cayman Islands way back when.
And that's how you bought your house.
No, I'm still paying for that one. There's a guy that shows up once a year for payment. It's not nice.
It's not pretty. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love, how sort of weirdly infectious gambling is. But the ick factor on this one is just a bit too much for me. And I hate to be the guy who says, "Is nothing sacred?" in that voice. But I think this is, kind of a line for me. Because I feel like, doesn't democracy have enough problems to deal with? Like, Russian disinformation campaigns and domestic wannabe autocrats.
Voter suppression.
Yeah, voter suppression without also having to deal with the prospect of, election fixing, bribery, and other corruption that that might be induced by, financializing, elections. So
you're going to see a bunch of candidates in a hot tub with a notorious fixer.
That's a deep cut.
That's a deep cut for our old Vegas fans. That brought down the storied Jerry Tarkanian as the coach of the UNLV basketball team. Some of his players were caught.
No, they have to go Google it themselves.
Okay,
sorry,
then just cut all that out.
This is how you become a real Las Vegan.
Just say big footnote.
Biggest footnote. I mean, presidential elections have had the ick since Jefferson v. Adams. So, it's already a pretty
deep cut.
Deep cut.
Really?
Google it, y'all.
That's colonial.
Watch Adams on Max streaming. So, this is already a hot button enough, situation. We really don't need the pressure of gambling bets, although it already exists in offshore betting. Maybe Putin just has a really big bet on Trump, and that's what's going on. That's the meddling. So other things, just so people know that it is not legal to bet on in Nevada or anywhere else in the United States. Fellas, do you have some things to input here?
Well, I tried, and I thought, I got on this this thing where I was like, yeah, there's got to be some things that are immune to to betting, some sports and competitive activities. So I was actually Googling around. And you may or may not know that I'm an avid chess fan. I play chess. I'm part of a chess club. I run a chess club. And I thought, surely they don't allow betting on chess. So I Googled it. I'm like, I'll say like, chess is immune to betting because they really need to keep the purity of the
Can't
the
throw
competition.
a match.
And no, but of course, actually, you can bet on chess. And so I was like, okay, so I'm actually going to bet on some matches.
All right. Yeah, my money's on you, Andrew.
Well, thankfully, you cannot bet on jury verdicts.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one. I mean, and also, you know what? I didn't fact check this, but it's come up I didn't fact check this today, but it's come up in the past. You cannot bet on when people are going to die, whether it's a celebrity or someone you know. You can't do a dead pool because it ends in murder. But okay, speaking of though, what should we make into new bettable sports? Like, what do you think would bring some money in here in Las Vegas?
I think it would be interesting to have a betting pool on whether, a certain strip property is like retheme or implode.
I love that. Which one will we be talking about next?
Circus is an even money bet. Come on.
Yeah,
Circus is not going anywhere. Yeah.
Excalibur.
That's a good one. Retheme or implode.
The Dirty Castle.
I do feel like, betting on the outcomes of events and things like that, it's like, I just start to feel like the increasingly like gambleification and financialization of it is like, it just gets kind of slimy after a while. So I feel like I'm reaching like peak bet.
I do have a couple of things that I feel like you guys would be interested in betting on, and then I want to hear yours too, David. I would love to take bets on. I would love to hear yours, David. I would love to take bets on when the Bright Line will be finished. / will it be finished on time, and if not,
on time for the Olympics.
2028 is when they're saying.
Yeah, that's their target.
You would really make some money if it came in early. That would be the good bet there. I would love to bet on where the Las Vegas airport will be and when, the new one. And I do think it should be, this actually goes back into what should be illegal to bet on. I do like to bet on / coax people into drinking liquids that they shouldn't drink. And I don't think I should do that anymore. So I'm making it illegal.
Malording is what they call that. Malording. There's actually a name for that.
That just sounds tantalizingly vague.
Well, it's not like antifreeze, but I did just do a...
Well, you just said liquid, so my imagination is going wild.
I've been on a press trip, and our American guide is like 27 and pretty poor, and we were like had spit cups for like this mead and booze tasting, and I was like, how much would it be for you to drink that? I don't want you to do it, I just want to know. She's like, it's surprisingly low. These poor kids, they got rent to pay in New York. All right, David, what do you got?
Okay, now people are going to think this is silly, but I'm very serious about this.
Okay.
And I think that the Gaming Control Board should listen up right now if they haven't been listening the whole time.
Ooh.
You know how like on Baccarat, you could bet for the house or the player, right? That's the fundamental of Baccarat. You get to pick which side. I think they should extend that to slot players. That you could go around and you can bet on whether or not the next slot pool is going to hit or miss.
Oh my God.
So you'd have all this side bet action on every slot player going around. And it would be insane and intense, and I'm sure it would lead to fistfights, which then you could also bet on. It's just pure money for our community. Pure
so like it's meta betting stacked with meta betting. I love it.
Oh my God. Well, welcome to Biodome Las Vegas.
All bets off. All bets off.
Where
with
you
all
can
bets on.
You can bet turtles all the way down. It's just bets on bets on bets. Oh my gosh. Well, as always, this has been trippy, bizarre, informative, and fun. Thanks, Andrew and David.
Thank you.
All the things.
Fractal betting. Quantum gambling. David has invented quantum gambling.
Oh my God. Before you go, a huge shout out to those of you who have already signed up for a CityCast Las Vegas membership. We've just introduced a new member benefit, a weekly rundown of Las Vegas events and activities. Think of it as your cheat sheet for the week. It arrives exclusively in the inbox of CityCast Las Vegas members every Monday. So sign up on our website, lasvegas.citycast.fm. We've got other member benefits like extended cut episodes, like the one we just did about our road trip to LA. And you know what? You're just supporting us in this work too. So if you enjoy us, consider joining. And that's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. Our executive producer is Sonia Cho Swanson. Our producer is Layla Mohammed. Our newsletter editor is Rob Katchel-Reese. And our hosts are David Figler and me, Sarah Lohman. Music is by OG Moose, Epidemic Sound, and all the kimonos. We record this show on the traditional homelands of the Nawubi, the Southern Paiute people. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? You can rate our show, leave us a review. That helps us out. Subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Las Vegas, and become a member for that special weekly event mailer. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Take care.
Yeah, 3 California.
You really tickled David. Okay, go on, Andrew.
If tickling Figler is problematic physically, I can always do it via jokes,
mentally,
metaphorically.
Little brain tickles.
It got me banned from Times Square. Go ahead.
Oh, no.